Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to our webinar, DATEV Export 2.0 for NetSuite. My name is Maren Kraft, and I'm from the team and be the host for today, just for the organizational part. And before we dive into the main topic, I will introduce you to the speakers. You have here our expert speakers for today, the Managing Director, Peter von Zimmermann, and product owner, Alex Botnia, for DATEV Export.
Hello, everyone.
Have a quick look at our agenda for today. We'll begin, can you use the slide, please, Peter, for the overview. We'll begin with a brief introduction to our webinar to give you an overview of Alta Via by our founder, Peter. Then he will dive into the main topic of our webinar, starting with an overview. Then Peter and Alex will give you a demo of the settings and mappings and export run, the Beleg build service, and a demo of the transaction reconciliation, and we'll end up with the implementation, use, and outlook. In order to give you the opportunity to address your questions you may have, please use the chat, the public chat during the presentation, and we will make sure to answer your questions at the end of the webinar. Please be also aware that the webinar will be recorded and published afterwards on our YouTube channel. So if you will switch on the camera during the Q&A session, you automatically agree in being okay with this. Now I'm pleased to hand over the microphone to Peter. Peter, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm starting, I have always to see that I'm on the right screen now, starting with a very short introduction about our company. Alta Via Consulting is a NetSuite solution provider since quite a while, since 2009. We are still the largest NetSuite solution provider, or not the largest company, but the one with the most consultants in Germany. We are also since quite a while SDN partner, so development partner, and we have two SuiteApps. The one is the one we are talking today about, the DATEV Export. The other one is the travel expense bundle. The DATEV Export bundle is a very old one. I think it's 10 years old now. But we have done a lot, so that's why we have this webinar today. In addition, we have a number of other bundles for localization, Germany, dunning, shipping integration, these are not part of this webinar today. Yes, we have a bunch of customers which we've served in the last 15 years, and in the meantime, about 40 plus or nearly 50 NetSuite people on the ground in Germany. That's our company. Just jump into our DATEV Export. Yes, I mentioned it already. DATEV, the bundle is not a new one. We have this in place since, I think, meantime 10 years, very widely used, but we have invested a lot in the last months to come with a new version, and that's why we thought it is worth doing this webinar today. So what is this all about? You know, most of you, a lot of companies in Germany using NetSuite in the meantime as a full ERP suite with all education, procure to pay, manufacturing projects, whatnot, using the full capacity of this NetSuite. Normally, it's not just in Germany. They are very often multinational, multi-subsidiaries, consolidation, international accounting is used, multi-book is in place, IFRS closing, whatever it is. System is very flexible, extensively, and widely used. This is the one system companies are using, but they have a second accounting system very often in Germany, and this is the system called DATEV. It's a tool of the tax lawyers, which is very much focused on German accounting, Rechnungswesen. It's on HGB, as the general accepted standards. It has a special chart of account. Again, it's a tool of the tax lawyer, and is a perfect support for all the German legal requirements if it comes to closing your books in Germany. And that's why companies tend to use both systems. And of course, they normally don't want to have a double bookkeeper in the sense that to enter all data twice. So they want to use the data from NetSuite, all the transactional data, and make use of them in DATEV in an automatic way. And that's where our tool comes into play. And I think we have this first question here, so that we would like to ask you a question. And Maren, I think you take over on this time, or?
Yeah, that's the first.
Yeah,
the first question. It will start now and will only last for 30 seconds to participate in. So we welcome you to give your answer very quickly. You should see it now. So the question is, do you use NetSuite as ERP so far? Yes, I do. No, thinking about it. And I see the first answers getting in. Most of you say, yes, I do.
okay, good.
Okay, good impression. Then I think we can end this. And the second one would be regarding the closing in DATEV. Does your company do the closing of books in DATEV?
Okay, interesting.
65% say yes, we do. So the majority of you does closing in DATEV.
Yeah, well, this is not representative probably because that's why you are in this webinar. In overall, my experience is that it's a bit 50-50. Half of the companies are just doing it directly from NetSuite, and the other half is really using DATEV for the closing. Both is valid and good. For the second half, and we developed this tool, and I go to the next. That's again too fast. To this overview where you see basically what this tool is doing in a way. They're using API services provided by DATEV, which is a Belegbilder service and the Buchungsdaten service. So I, for purpose, use the German names because that's how they are known. And you see on the picture here that we have on the left side NetSuite, where you have a lot of transactions. Some of them are relevant for accounting, and the accounting is in the back of NetSuite already. You normally also have some documents coming with these transactions. For example, you have print out invoices you send to customers, you assign bills which you have received from your vendors to the transactions. This is what you all have in NetSuite, and what you obviously want. You want to took over the transactions into DATEV postings, so-called Buchungsstapel. For this, we use this Buchungsdaten service. And on the other side, you probably might also want to see the documents we have attached in NetSuite, also in DATEV. And for this, we use the Belegbilder service, and we store the documents in DATEV Unternehmen Online. And then we obviously we get the link back to the documents in DATEV Unternehmen Online, and Alex will show how this works. And we then send this link together with the Buchungsdaten into DATEV Rechnungswesen, so you can use this link on the other side then to see the documents in DATEV Rechnungswesen. And I think we have another question here.
Yes,
I'm very interested to see here. Yeah.
It's about the document storing in DATEV. And the question is, do you do your document storing in DATEV, so the Ablage der Buchungsdaten?
Okay, interesting.
No, we don't. pretty balanced.
Yeah, but
okay.
It's very interesting to see also that there are some, because we always thought this is who needs this really. So that with our DATEV approach as a use this new feature, and that's why we build it. And there is obviously also really a requirement for this, because storing the data there in an archived way is a very good solution for DATEV. So it makes a lot of sense. And so that's what we support here. Yeah. Okay. Then let's go ahead. What has to be done to really make it happen? And actually, there is the structural differences obviously between the systems, which we have to do some mapping to solve this. So in NetSuite, we normally have a NetSuite COA as a chart of account, which could be something. It's totally free. Normally, it's a multinational company. They have an enterprise-wide chart of account, which is used. In DATEV, we have predefined Kontenrahmen, SKO 3 or 4 or others, mostly these two. So we have to somehow bring this from the NetSuite account number to the DATEV account number. We have customers in NetSuite for our accounts receivables, and we have debtors with account numbers in DATEV, and we have to map it. We have vendors and employees in NetSuite for our accounts payable, and we have creditors on the DATEV side. And obviously for our VAT, our tax, we have tax codes in NetSuite. In DATEV, it's named Buchungsschlüssel, posting key, or Automatikkonten, accounts where the tax is included into the account number. And again, we have to see how we do this mapping. And again, first we have a question. So which chart of account are you using in NetSuite is basically the question we would like to ask. So because obviously some companies are using even SKO 3 or 4 in DATEV, others are something different. Interesting to see it. So in NetSuite, no, not in DATEV. The DATEV is clear, but we assume, my experience is that a lot of companies are using in some enterprise-wide chart of account. That's where we got the first answers on this as well. Yeah. Okay. Okay, thank you. Very interesting, because normally my assumption, my experience is that much more have some whatever chart of accounts, but obviously we have some more German type companies here in the core. Okay, but nevertheless, we will see how this works. Last slide before I go to the demo is now that I explain you what we have in NetSuite to support the export. So it's just, our bundle is an add-on into NetSuite, and we create a few custom records to support this export. The one is called settings. For this, we have for each subsidiary you would like to use the export. We have it's a 1 second record where we define multiple defaults, and I will show you which one. We can define which transaction types should be exported for this subsidiary, and we have a link to the DATEV mandant for the API call. In the settings, then for these settings, we are doing so-called runs. So this is the record where we really export the data. So we can export master data, or normally we export transactions for a time period. So for a period or year, quarter, which is then DATEV called Buchungsstapel. Yeah, and of course, the run is always assigned to a setting. So it's the run for a subsidiary. With the run, we create a CSV file, which is linked to the run, and you can download it from there, or you can even, and Alex will show you, to send it directly into DATEV. And there's an error log handling, of course, coming with the runs. Again, we have the last polls here. Maren, your time.
Oh, sorry. How many subsidiaries does your company have is the first question.
Yeah, that's actually the question, because it's always the question. One of the questions we always have is this running for all subsidiaries or just for the German? How do you ensure that the all other subsidiaries are not influenced by our run? And we can see it that actually we really okay. There are quite a bit of customers having just one subsidiary, but there are also some which are really bigger ones. And now I'm very interested in seeing the next question because related to this. How many of these subsidiaries are in Germany? Same question basically, because you have to understand we can run this, okay? That's very typical. Most of the companies are using our bundle, have just one German subsidiary where they use the export, but the tool is of course able to also run it in multiple subsidiaries. You just have to have a configuration for all of these subsidiaries. Okay, that's it. So far my the presentation, and now I try to move over to the system. You have to see that I'm having the right screen here in the front, which is the home NetSuite, and you have to make it big enough that you can see something, but small enough that I can see the tabs above. So this is the demo system and the home thing, but we directly go into the setting record here. I find my mouse. This is a setting record. This is a DATEV setting record, which I just talked about, where you can see this is defined for subsidiary. In this via Germany demo subsidiary, you define which transactions to be transported. You have some information about the tax lawyer number and your client number as your tax lawyer for the interaction with DATEV. And there are a lot of special, as I mentioned, a lot of defaults and settings relevant for your subsidiary. And I don't go into all the details. It's just to set the currency. You can define if you want no currency, fill base amounts. There are a lot of things which you understand when you know how the export looks like. We don't worry, we deliver it with a standard which in 90% fits your needs, but there is a little bit of possibilities
Peter, there's a request. Could you make a full screen so that it's getting a little bigger?
I can try it. The full screen is a problem with the full screen. I can go with here.
Yeah.
Is that I have to use the buff that I need to have these tabs, and that's why I don't do full screen. I can make it a little larger if it's small.
Maybe this may help.
You can also what this tool to zoom in. We have it already in 150, so it's getting a little larger, but I don't want to make it too large because then we cannot see the overview. So I think I'm using basically full screen already. But okay, I continue. Yes.
Yes, please.
So you see here a bunch of defaults, like for example, the accounts payable, the default accounts payable numbers, the default accounts receivable number, in case you don't have special numbers for your customers and vendors. You can define which type of period you are using, the posting period or the tax period. The tax period is standard, and a bunch of other settings is possible here. This is the setting record, which you define for each subsidiary. And then it's better we have the runs here. So you have a list of runs, where you run it by period. And I use this here better to create a new one. So if you would like to export something, you just define a new run. And you name it somehow. Normally you would probably name it somehow after the period you export. Today we make it a bit different, and you assign it to a setting, which is then also gives you the subsidiary. You decide which period you would like to use. I think if it's the current one, text period, closing period, we don't need, as we export by text period. And then you define what you would like to export. In this case, just a transaction. You see you can also export GL accounts and customer and vendor masters. We save it. That's it. And then we start the export, and then we are good and up and running. And so you see it's in the stage changed to scheduled. It's a batch job, and that's because I didn't want us to wait here. I have prepared something, so I have run this already with the same settings, so just we have the results already. So after it's run, you receive an email and you the status success, and you see here a link to the file. This is a Buchungsstapel file for this period, and you can download it, or as Alex shows you in a minute, you can also send it over to DATEV. But in the moment we download it, and then it comes into Excel, and I also have done this so that we can see this. I hope you can read this as well. If I can make it even a bit bigger, but I think it's okay, hopefully. This is basically the file, the Buchungsstapel file, which follows this requested DATEV format. So we have here the column Umsatz ohne Soll-Haben-Kennzeichen, which is the gross amount. We have here this debit and credit sign, or should and have, soll and haben, the currency sign, the currency, if it's US dollar, also the currency exchange rate, then the base currencies of the euro amount, and
can you make it a little taller, the screen, Peter?
Taller? What do you mean?
Bigger, the full screen?
It doesn't help. It really doesn't help. It's not getting bigger. It's I don't want to. No, it's not getting bigger. It's just getting more empty space. And I don't need to show more than one line here. So we don't need to see the full Excel. We just need to see this here. Can you read it? Okay, I go ahead, and then we have account and contra account. So that's typically for a DATEV line. It is always two accounts, account and the contra account. In this case, it is an expense account. This is a vendor accounts payable account. Then we have the Buchungsschlüssel and the Datum, Buchungsdatum, and in the Belegfeld 1 we see the document number, and in this we see the due date. But we will look at this later on again. Yeah? And this is then when I end my part, and I would like to ask Alex to show us how to work with the Belegbild or with the services and send something to DATEV. And stop sharing, okay.
So, as you can see on my screen, here we have the AV1 DATEV export run completed, as was just demonstrated by Peter. And here we have already the file that is ready to be uploaded into DATEV. So for that, we have here this functionality realized through the button, DATEV upload CSV. So pushing this button, we send this file via API call to DATEV. And then when we are done, we can trace the status here under the DATEV job status field that we can see here is successful. And we get the DATEV job ID, which contains the unique identifier sent by DATEV back to NetSuite. And sure, we have integration logs and everything, so if there is an error, we can trace back why it happened. And also, we have a functionality for the transfer of the PDF files. So we support now transaction types such as invoice, credit memo, cash sale, vendor bill, bill credit in NetSuite. So we can push these documents to DATEV via also the button, this DATEV upload document. And pushing this button, we send also the PDF file via API call. And we again get the unique identifier from DATEV, so we can trace it later. And also we have a functionality that allows us not only to send the print version. Let's say by default, we send for sales transactions. We send the print version generated by NetSuite. Like here, you can see this file in DATEV already. But the users can also override it. If you have any other preferences, you can replace the file here in this field in NetSuite and send this any other file that you would like to associate with this transaction in your DATEV account. Also for vendor transactions for payables, we use the approach that we prioritize the attachments, because normally we use attachments as a version received from the vendor. So we push the attachment first to DATEV. That's how this solution works. And also this DATEV document link that we receive back from DATEV with the API response, we can also trace it in the Buchungsstapel file under the Beleg link column. You can see here that this invoice is referenced here with this DATEV unique identifier. And at this point, I pass the microphone back to Peter.
Yeah, and I will share my screen again. We are back on our Excel, and again, as Alex already shown, this is here we see the links for the documents at the end here. And I have to move it over there. It is. And yes, and then elsewhere I would like to show you something about how do we get these numbers here. How do we get this? For this we need to talk about the mappings. I didn't talk about the mappings before, but I will do it now. So the one thing what we talked about mapping was the accounts. So we have this the search here where you can see then all the GL accounts in NetSuite, and these are the ones which are used in your own subsidiary, in the subsidiary we are having here, and which are also get postings. And then you see here the list of our accounts with the NetSuite account number. And here we can then do the mapping by entering another DATEV account number. So if you don't do it, don't set a number, then of course the NetSuite number is taken. So in your case, if your company using SKR 3 or 4, you might not need to do a lot of these mappings because you just can use the same number. But there might be other companies, other reasons why you have a mapping, a different mapping. For example, Deutsche Bank account 1010, it should be 1-800 in DATEV, so you can map this. This is the first mapping I talked about before. The other one is a customer mapping, this list. So you see here, these are our customers in our demo system, not very, very interesting names, but you can see that's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for each of them, we need a DATEV account number. And you just can enter another one here for this new, if you want. And you have it, and then we get it there. So you can change it here, but of course, normally we just give you this Excel and you fill the Excel and we upload it as CSV files. But this is what we have to do for customers, for vendors, the same. This is a list for vendors, same thing, number starting normally with 7. And then we have a very special case here, where in NetSuite you can have one entity, could be in the same time a vendor and a customer. And in this case, in DATEV, we need 2 numbers. So the DATEV account number is the 10,008, which is the customer, the debtor number. And for the creditor number, we're using the 7,005. That's why we have the second field, DATEV account vendor, which in these cases overrides the DATEV account number. And these are the third type of mapping. And the last one is then this text codes mapping. So we have text codes. These are the standard legacy text codes in NetSuite, standard German, reduced German, and so on. And for DATEV, we have 2 Buchungsschlüssel, one for purchase, also Vorsteuer, and Umsatzsteuer is a different one. So for example, the 90%, the 3 is for Umsatz, and the 9 is for purchase, and so on. And then there are some special cases where we have very special service import, service buying from EU, where DATEV has very special numbers which are mapped here. Then there's a last thing which I would like to show you on the mappings before we go into the last part of our presentation. And this is, we have a special type of mapping for so-called automatic accounts. So automatic accounts in DATEV are accounts where the account contains already the text code. So for example, the number 4400 is typically the DATEV income account, revenue account for 90%. So in this case, what we do have to do is we have to map the revenue accounts from NetSuite into the corresponding DATEV account together with the text code. So for example, you have the sales 4000, which is with 90% text code, STE 440. If it's reduced, then it is just another number. And you see, if it's correct DATEV, I'm not sure, but it's just you understand the concept here. So these are the mappings I wanted to show you. And now I go back to the Excel, and we take a look at this Belegfeld column where you see the transaction. So you can imagine this is the Buchungsstapel. It's quite a list, but this is a very small demo system with a very few transactions only. You can imagine in real life environments, you might have thousands of transactions, which all are in this Excel. So the Excel is really full of lines. And you have to, and of course, you can easily, if you have one line, you can see from the document, you can of course understand this is the NetSuite document number. So you could go in and look for it here and just make a global search, and you will see the invoice. There is an invoice. So there is a way from the Excel back to the invoice, to the transactions in NetSuite, but that is what we changed in this new release, that we make it much easier for you to do this, because we not just forcing you to go back, you can also see it directly on the transaction. And that is what I would like to show you now. Basically, yes, that is this one. So this is the invoice we just have seen. This is the gross amount, and this is GL impact of this transaction. Okay. So this is sitting in NetSuite. So you see here in accounts receivable of this amount, then we have two lines for the items, with the revenue account and the VAT line. So typically NetSuite, each line one account, debit or credit, sums up to 0. This is the normal way NetSuite is doing it. And the DATEV solution of this is now either visible in the Excel or, and this is a new idea of this new version, you can see this now here under related records. We show it directly. Here you see the items, but if you go to related records, you can directly see what comes out of in DATEV with the same invoice. So this is a DATEV. This is basically the same what you have seen in the Excel. So you see it here. This is the gross amount. You see the account number, which is the automatic account 4400 because of 190%. So it's mapped here, and the contra account is customer Personenkontonummer 10,008 from the customer. There's no posting key necessary, Buchungsschlüssel necessary because it is an automatic account. This is the posting date, document number. This is the due date, which we also see here. So it is just, you can directly see in your NetSuite transaction what will be exported, which of course helps you much easier to reconcile that the export will work at the end. And this is for these simple transactions, great, but we will show you in that there are other transactions where it is a bit more interesting, and I have deleted this. There it is. Yes. There are some other transactions where I would like to show you a little more complex scenarios that you understand how helpful this is. So, for example, the invoice we have only seen. This is the invoice we just looked at. But for example, you have an expense report. And this expense report, okay, it has a lot of different lines here. You stay at a hotel, you have a train ticket, you have per diems, Tagespauschalen, and you have the mileage for driving with your car to the train station. A lot of expenses, which also comes then if you go into GL Impact, you see this is a GL Impact in NetSuite. It's an accounts payable account. I get the money. Then there are a lot of expense accounts. There's a bit of VAT on purchase, and that's it. And if you look at this, and I think I'm opened it here to not go back, I have the same record here, and I go to the related records again. You can see this is what we export to DATEV. Yeah? So again, we see different expense accounts, the 6-1 something, and you see a contra account is always the creditor number of my creditor number, because I get the money, 7,200. And here you see, for example, this posting key 8, which is reduced tax rate 7% for my hotel and my train ticket, and the other ones have no taxes assigned to, and that is what we send over to DATEV. But you can, again, the benefit here is that you can really see it already here. You can recognize, is it right? Is it really the contra account, for example, set for the employee or not, and so on. That is the basic idea. And then we have a last transaction to show. This is an even more complex one. This is a payment transaction. So we pay, as you see here, we pay 300 euro to our Deutsche Bank. Got paid, the customer has paid 300 euro, and we have applied it to 2 invoices. This is, but hopefully not everything is applied. He has paid too much. We had also seen that there is a sconto, a risk taken, which, okay, is a bit more complex transaction. And then we have even the journal entry here, which then repairs our clawback, repairs the missing text code or for the disk taken. Again, we are looking into the GL impact here. If you want to see, it's very simple. We just paid the 300 euro to the Deutsche Bank. We have an accounts receivable, and in addition, we have this discount posted to this account. This is a GL impact in NetSuite, but what we want to achieve, and this is what is also new in this release, is we want to, of course, also tell DATEV that these two invoices are paid now. We just don't say 300 euro, but we want it to be paid, to tell DATEV these two invoices are paid with these amounts, and that's why our it's related records. The way we are posting this, or we're sending this to DATEV, is a bit more complex, as you see here. So again, the contra account is always, of course, our customer. This is a bank account here, and here it is a revenue account, the discount account, which is obviously not an automatic account. So we have to do the tax, the posting keys. So in reality, on the invoice, it has been partially 77 and 90%. So we really have a complex split here. And we have the remaining amount going to a conto, to the payment. But in the document field, we give them the invoice numbers here, so that on the data side, it is possible to set these invoices to be paid. This is basically the new feature, and you also see again how helpful it is to look into NetSuite system to see the output into DATEV. So this is the end of my demonstration, and I would have to go back to my slides, and I have to look for them where they got lost. I lost them here, where they are. Okay. Okay, this was our last slide. The next slide, before I talk about the implementation. What does it mean to implement this bundle? So it is a bundle we install into NetSuite, and we do initial setup. So we set up the text codes, and we give you these Excel sheets for your mapping, which takes about 1 hour, this whole exercise with you. Then, of course, you have to use these mappings for accounts, customers, vendors, and so on. And we import this then, if you've done it, into NetSuite. We have to set up the integration to your DATEV client, and then you're up and running. Overall, it is an extremely fast process. It takes really only a very few hours to get this up and running. Okay, this is the implementation. Again, summary of what we have done new in 2.0. I've shown you this reconciliation on the transaction level, which is for me really a game changer when it comes to reconcile what we export. We did some improvements on the export. One I've shown you, the apply of the invoices to the payments. The other one is a little missing thing we had, the support of adjustment-only multi-book. So we support multi-book, but for the adjustment-only multi-book, you have to run the export twice with both books. In the moment, this is new to 2.0. And then what Alex has shown you, the Belegbild service to transfer the documents, and also the Buchungsdaten service to send over the CSV export. These are the news for the new release, and there are some more to come. We are in the middle of developing of new stuff already, which is the Outlook. So the next step for the next release, we will work on the other way around, so that you are able to bring back some DATEV postings into NetSuite. This is a bit limited because DATEV only has postings, so simple lines, and so in NetSuite you just can only do journal entries normally, but we will support this in the new release. The full SuiteApp support is part of us on the roadmap. We want to have a better master data integration with new APIs used from DATEV. Yes, and then there's one last idea. We have seen this records on the transactions in NetSuite, and of course it might be, or it's a natural idea to just say, okay, if you have it there, you can also change it there, and then say this should be exported instead of what the searches or the transactions come. So you can override the DATEV export on transactions. But anyway, this will be shown later when we have done it, and then you probably will easier understand the benefit of this. That's it for me. I'm done. I think the next slide is already this one. Yeah, the question one. Yeah. So.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Peter. Yeah, we have some questions in the meanwhile in the chat. The questions, I put some from the private chat to the public chat, so this is why there is my name under these questions, but of course these are not my questions. So is the upload available for all versions of DATEV, or is it dependable on the type version you are using?
Yes, it's a good question. It is a standard it is really a standard defined by DATEV, and so it is usable for all versions of DATEV. It is also, we have also customers not using DATEV, but competitive products which have supporting this import, DATEV import. So it is extremely independent of everything. So it's independent of the DATEV version. And of course, you have to have the setup of your accounts in a way that fits to your mapping. But for the system, it's totally open. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Second question is: DATEV upload of documents also trigger via scripting, CSV, etc.?
Yeah, that's a good point, good question, because obviously you don't want to click it all the time. Actually, what we support is what you always can do with such a workflow, which is the workflow behind it. You can run it as a mass update. And so you can basically press a button with a mass update. And that is our solution here for the time being. Of course, if we need more, we will add a script solution if this is not sufficient. But I think it is, because you just can run a daily or mass update of all your newly created transactions, and then this will run automatic. That's our current solution.
Okay. Now, remark from a participant: I'm honestly afraid that this new function under related records will be very annoying, as it will probably show as first entry on all other transactions as well. So users are to get to the normal related records on, e.g. sales orders, etc. My suggestion...
Yes. Yeah, good point.
My suggestion would be to build an extra tab for DATEV on the transactions and put it there.
They're very good feedback, and I agree with this. Actually, it is, of course, as you know, these forms are customizable in NetSuite, and so you can also define what you would like to see under which subtab. And to be honest, I did it, of course, for demo purposes, and I put it in the first line here in our demo system. This is not normal, and of course, you also would probably have, if you have international users and they don't know DATEV at all, you would probably hide this whole totally. But a very good point, and we should maybe think about this when we do the shipping of this bundle, that you don't have to do it manually. But it's good. Thank you. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay, then we have a question from Thomas. Can we also make invoice accruals in NetSuite that can be transferred to DATEV, so for subscriptions, etc.?
Actually, we export everything into DATEV, all transactions which are posting relevance, so all of them. I'm not 100% sure what this invoice accruals in this sense means. I think maybe we have to follow up on this because I'm not 100%. The answer now is we really export all types of transactions which are posting relevant so that we have the full amount of data into DATEV. I think there is a problem which maybe this is subscription, it is a deferred revenue, but this is maybe also another story. That NetSuite a lot of postings in the invoices are going to pair up to deferred, and in DATEV we need to have it for the tax reasons into the revenue first and then bring it back. This is solved, but maybe I don't understand this question correctly.
Okay, if we process the invoice in DATEV and clear the item, there is the communication then sent back to NetSuite and the invoice also set to paid here. So automatically, did I understand that correctly?
No, it's just the other way around. We assume for the moment that the payment is done in NetSuite as well, and to pay the things are paid. And just the improvement we've done here is that we bring this information on the payment to DATEV. The backwards, it's a good idea, but I don't know how that means the payment is done in DATEV. And then we should post the payment in NetSuite because it's not just applying, it's also the payment itself, which is needed. So correct, the moment what we do now is the information we're doing in NetSuite on the payment, we push them to DATEV so that we have the same open items on the DATEV side.
Okay. Then there's a feedback from Thomas. It would have been great to also show the DATEV page and the result there.
Yeah, but yes, that's a good point. Yeah, I think that Alex, you have shown this document, but maybe you should take it that next time we should really show it how the posting in DATEV works is there, and also the link to the document, which would be great. Yeah, that's true. We are not very good feedback, and we take it. We are just in the moment not good enough with DATEV to be really knowledgeable enough to do this there in a way that they're more able. Yes.
There's a question from Eileen. Do we have to purchase DATEV Export 2.0 even if we already have DATEV Export 1.0, or is it big?
It is not automatically updated, so we will ask you. So it's not yet a managed bundle. So we have to we have to talk with you, or will talk with you to get the update. But of course, that is part of your license that you get the newest version. The new version will be a managed bundle. So when we have the 2.1 version, we might even just bring it up to you directly.
Okay, great. Question from Andrea. How much does the bundle cost? Okay, then we clarified this.
It's 1,800 per year or 150 per month. That's basically the price, yeah.
Okay, thank you. This seems to be all questions.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to ask?
That's right.
Thank you.
I think you'll see it as well. The sales at AltaVia.de, so we are very open to get any question, or if you have already customers, the other email is, I think, support@AltaVia.de, which directly goes into our custom support, and we will help you directly. Yeah?
Thanks a lot for your attention and your time. See you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone. Goodbye.